أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Assalamu alaikum. My name is Dr. Suzy Ismail from Cornerstone, and I'm happy to be joining ICNA Relief in the Seeds of Mercy Ramadan program. Today's topic is one that's very, very important for us to address as a community and for us to reflect upon in our own families as well as in the families of those that we love. We don't talk about this topic often enough, but domestic violence is unfortunately a societal ill that we see very much so in many communities, but also in the Muslim American community. When we talk about family structure, family dynamics, and when we try to seek out understanding of domestic violence, we know that it has many shapes, many ways of occurring, and unfortunately, regardless of the type of violence that's occurring, the outcome is never positive. The Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam advised us that the best of you is the one that is best to his family. Being best to your family doesn't mean just paying the bills or providing, financial means. That's part of it. But being the protector, being the shepherd for your family means ensuring that you are providing love and care and compassion and mercy every step of the way. In the Quran, Allah Azza wa Jal describes the marital relationship as one in which there is mawadda wa rahma that essentially leads to suqoon, one that has care and mercy that leads to a place of tranquility. But we can't reach that place of suqoon, that place of tranquility, in a household in which there is abuse, whether the abuse is marital abuse towards the spouse, or abuse towards children, or abuse towards elderly. There are so many different forms of abuse, and it's up to us to eradicate it all, because abuse is a form of oppression. And the Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam reminded us that it is incumbent upon us to help the oppressed and the oppressor. What does it mean to help the oppressed? To try to relieve them from the situation of oppression. And what does it mean to help the oppressor? To stop their hand from perpetuating that oppression. And so we have to do our part in stopping the oppression of domestic violence from occurring in our homes and the homes of the Muslim Ummah. What does domestic violence look like? We often think of domestic violence only in the form of physical abuse, but we know that abuse can manifest in ways that are other than physical. Physical harm is, of course, one of the prevalent aspects or the prevalent types of domestic violence, but there can also be emotional abuse. There can be verbal abuse. There can be psychological abuse. There can be financial abuse. There can be different types of abuses in which a person is victimized and feels like they cannot get out of a difficult situation. And that abuse and the cycle of abuse is often perpetuated through elements of control. So putting someone away in a place where they feel like they can't escape, both physically possibly and metaphorically as well. Convincing someone that they are not good enough, that they have nowhere to turn, that they are not loved. This is another form of abuse and often keeps the victim trapped in the cycle of abuse. Oftentimes when we see the cycle of abuse, we see that there may be periods of times in which the relationship is going well, where things seem calm, where the relationship, for example, between a couple seems to be healthy, and then there may be an incident, a trigger that causes the perpetrator of the abuse to harm the spouse, to cause that a violent reaction and to harm the spouse. Now, many times, even though in that moment the spouse recognizes that they are in danger, the response is one of fear, and the fight or flight response can kick in. And many times the abuser follows up the abuse with apologies, with love letters, with flowers, with convincing the one who is the victim of the abuse that they didn't mean it. And so this lulls the one who is the victim of abuse into a sense of false security, where again the cycle happens. There will be a period of calm, things may seem to be going okay, and then the abuse will occur again. And we know that domestic violence is often the outcome of generational trauma, that those who perpetuate violence may have grown up in situations of violence, may have gone through their own traumatic situations that has led them to this point. And this is why when we stop domestic violence, we are helping not just the victim of the abuse, but we are also helping the abuser to stop oppressing, to stop harming those that are under the abuser's care, to stop putting those that the abuser is supposed to be the best towards in the worst situation. So this Ramadan, as we gather with our families, as we work on our own patience, on our own connection to Allah, it's important that we also take time to reflect on those that we love, those that we know, those in our communities. If we suspect domestic violence in a household, if we are victims of domestic violence, if we are perpetrators of that abuse, there is help, and it's important to seek out that help. Organizations like ICNA Relief offer different avenues such as shelters and counseling and avenues of help that can stop the abuse. So let's make this part of our intentionality, inshallah, that we carry out through Ramadan and post-Ramadan, to stop oppression within homes, to stop abuse, to speak out against domestic violence, and to ensure that no victim's voice is left unheard, and that we provide the avenues of the help and the resources that are there to assist in these difficult situations. Jazakallah.